Hello, everybody. Welcome today to our live. And today we have the topic um, that a lot of people have been asking me about, which is how do you know that you have leaky gut? And what do you do about it? The answer is coming up. Here we go, everybody. Hey, everybody. I am Maggie, UMD. I am an actively practicing functional medicine physician and MD medical doctor practicing in the United States. And I work with people around the world to solve seemingly unsolvable medical mysteries and problems. Today, we are focusing on leaky gut. I work with tons of people, thousands of people over the years on identifying whether they have leaky gut and what is leaky gut and what exactly is causing it and what to do about it. Uh, Welcome, everybody. And those of you that are watching right now, I would love if you could already start telling me in the chat, where are you watching from? Do you think you have leaky gut? And why do you think you have leaky gut? Type it in chat. I'd love to know who's watching out there. Give me a shout, give me a holler. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, um, if you're watching from YouTube, which is my preferred place you're watching me because I can actually see all these comments coming in from YouTube, type a boom in chat if you're watching from YouTube and part of my YouTube audience. And would love it if you could click subscribe and also ring the bell if you're watching from YouTube. Did you know less than 5% of you that are watching are actually subscribed to the channel? So here we go, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for the boom in chat, Kate. All right, everybody. First thing first, leaky gut. The question a lot of people will have is, how do I know what is leaky gut, first of all, and how do I know I have it? And I would love to first start by saying, like, some of you who do Imic Gowan, hello, hi, good to see you. Thank you. Cynthia, good to see you. Boom. Thanks for watching me in from YouTube, everybody. What is leaky gut? I love to teach. I love to take some really difficult concepts and nail it down into something really digestible and easy to understand. Did you know, as far as even 10 years ago, the medical community, regular conventional medical doctors, have never even heard of the term leaky gut or accepted that it exists. It sounded like something out of science fiction, leaky gut. And now, I mean, all of you know actually more than those physicians do, and a lot of currently practicing regular doctors, conventional medical doctors. Some of them don't know that leaky gut is, in fact, a scientific fact and term. And one of the things that I want to show you guys is think about your gut cells as like a coffee filter, okay? And food, coffee, water, everything goes through that sieve, past that filter, through that filter into bloodstream and the rest of your body. In a leaky gut situation, instead of everything above it passing through, there are literally holes in the coffee filter. So it literally goes past through a damaged coffee filter. So I want to show you that in terms of, this is a simple picture to demonstrate that. On the left side of this is, down below on that red is your bloodstream, okay? In front of that, all the pink pieces that you see over here are healthy, on the left side, healthy intestinal cells. And you see those three lines that says healthy tight junctions. Think about that as like little cement, three lines of cement holding these cells together next to each other, linked, tight, sealed, okay? And some of that, the proteins that are in that healthy tight junction, one of them we call zonulin, okay? Now, when you have a barrier there, you notice on top there's a mucous membrane. And notice these cells have on the top almost like a little hairs on the top. We call those villi. And your intestinal lining is lined with healthy gut cells that are tightly sealed. And on top of it are all these healthy villi cells, creating lots of surface area with which there could be mucus that's formed to protect that area. Healthy bacteria can actually line that whole area, providing another line of defense, anti-inflammatory effect. And these good bacteria is part of the immune system of your gut. And so this healthy system is on the left side. On the right side is actually scientifically the picture of somebody with leaky gut, which is what a lot of people have. And what is leaky gut? Look at the right over here. And thanks, Troy, from North Carolina. I didn't know you were in North Carolina. And Agnes, hello from PA. I love all my PA people. Welcome, Walter. Okay. And Latrice says, I think I have leaky gut because I keep getting bloated even when eating soup. We're going to talk about that, right? Can gut symptoms or bloating be related to leaky gut? We're going to get there, Latrice. Thank you. Now, on the right side, when you look at leaky gut, the scientific picture looks like that on the right, meaning that instead of having those three lines of almost like a sealed area over there, it's wide open. There's actually damage. So those tight junctions gone, and now you have those holes that we're talking about that directly allows anything, whether it's food particles, toxins, allergens, viruses, goes straight past through. The mucus lining on the top disrupted. You know why? The cells that are healthy make that mucus lining. You now have cut their arms off. You've cut their connections off. Are they going to make a mucus layer protecting it? No, they're not. So you notice the mucus lining on the right, gone. You notice all those little lining on top, the villi, now they're exposed. Instead of being protected by a barrier layer that protects them, they're wide open, they're red, and they're inflamed, which makes them super susceptible to what? Getting bad bacteria, viruses to attach, infect, damage them further. Okay. Now notice too, now these food particles that are coming in are directly being exposed to the villi. Okay. So like there isn't even as much time to digest them. A lot of us already have broken digestive system, but now you don't even, when they're sitting here, they're directly exposed to the villi. They directly pass straight from the stomach area, the intestinal area, straight into the bloodstream. Notice the bloodstream on the right side is filled with food particles. Look at the gluten, the yellow little gluten there. It doesn't belong in your bloodstream. It doesn't belong behind that barrier. And there it is in the barrier of the bloodstream. It doesn't belong there. So now we have lots of exposures to things that doesn't belong in the bloodstream. Notice on the right side, the black cells represent viruses. So people who are more prone to, let's say, COVID or long haul, people who says, I get sick at everything. Well, if you have leaky gut, there's a direct pathway straight into the bloodstream. There's no defense. There's no barrier. So you can see that's what leaky gut is on the right. And that explains a lot of things, right? So if we are already looking at this picture right here, and you're already thinking about Latrice said, what was her question? She said, I get bloating after I eat. Can it be related to leaky gut? Yeah. So let me ask you a question. On the person on the right with leaky gut, the cells there are supposed to make mucus, but they're also supposed to participate in the digestion and breakdown of food. So if you're not actually, these cells are injured, they're not going to be digesting food very well. And some of these food allergens, instead of getting like gluten or dairy, let's say you have a problem with gluten or dairy, instead of being digested and broken down and passed down the intestine, they're going to sit there like a sore thumb, irritating the hell out of your villi on top. And they're going to get a pass through straight into the blood, going all over your body, in your bloodstream, exposing it to multiple areas throughout your body. And your body is looking at that and saying, that doesn't belong here. And it starts an inflammatory process, inflammation. Okay. So some people immediately will have problems like gas, bloating. So certainly if someone has leaky gut, here are some of the symptoms. Okay. GI symptoms, gut symptoms wise, we get gas, we got bloating, we got heartburn. We feel like there's abdominal discomfort, diarrhea, constipation, right? You might have been told you have IBS or IBD, right? So absolutely, people can have gut symptoms when they eat or even when they don't eat. That's related to having leaky gut. Okay. Now, that being said, another reason why people have leaky gut. So that's one group. So if you already think based on those symptoms, I have leaky gut. Yeah. And Jenny already says, can it be reversed? And if so, how? I can't wait. Okay, yes. So the first part of this question was, how do I know I have leaky gut? We just went over what is leaky gut is when the filter is no longer filtering. It's literally holes throughout the filter and things are going straight through you because there's actually broken areas that should be a set barrier. When that happens, these damaged cells have a lot of symptoms. They can't function normally to digest. And we got now a worsening food allergen and infection and toxin situation because all those things go straight from the gut lining straight into your bloodstream. That's leaky gut. Okay. So, first set of group of people with leaky gut, digestive symptoms. And if that's you, type it in chat. Tell me what some of those symptoms are, right? We just talked to somebody who we were talking to somebody and she's had 20 years of constipation, right? And thinking about that, it's like, could she have leaky gut? The answer in her case was absolutely a hell yes. And so, constipation, chronic constipation, diarrhea, malabsorption problems, gas, bloating, and GERD, 100%. Are one of the top symptoms of leaky gut. Now, the second thing is, what about those people with increasing food allergens? How many people notice that you're reacting to more and more food and things you didn't react to before? Like me personally, I never had a problem with cashews until I was around 40. But around 40, I noticed suddenly, boom, I started reacting to cashews, okay, really badly to the point where it hurts so badly when I eat it. It felt like it's worse than having a kidney stone for me. And interestingly, food allergies and food sensitivities is a sign that you have leaky gut. Let me explain something. Okay. Rick, you've had 15 years of diarrhea, right? How many? And someone found out, Rick said, I had alpha gal, lots of food related type reactions. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you there's a connection between people with bad digestion or broken pieces of digestion and increasing food allergies and leaky gut. So here's a really simple concept. Digestion is there to take big pieces of food and break them down into really tiny little pieces. Okay. When food is really tiny, it's much easier to absorb, right? And it's also really low allergen. Okay. So, those of us who have been born with certain digestion problems being weak, as we get through later in life, there could be medication, there could be COVID infection, there could be other things that could becoming celiac. There could be things that impact our ability to digest food. So, over time, with these insults, these big particles, instead of going down to tiny little particles, you're not digesting or breaking them down. You have an increase in these big undigested food particles that are highly allergenic, meaning unprocessed, unbroken down, and it literally is big floating around in your gut, now going into the bloodstream, undigested, and it's really allergenic, which means we get more and more and more food allergies as there's more and more damage from leaky gut. How many people have noticed this happening? So it's not in your head that things you didn't used to react to, now it feels like you're reacting to. And here's the other thing. Could you react one week to it, but the next week feel like you don't? How many people have that kind of thing where last week I ate a tomato and it was a problem. This week I ate a tomato and it doesn't seem to be a problem, where it seems like there's varying degrees of reactivity this week versus last week. And you're like scratching your head as to what's going on. Well, if you have leaky gut where there's a clear pathway from outside, from the intestine on the outside into the bloodstream, and all these different things can impact it, let me ask you a question, right? If you have bad digestion, and let's say you don't digest fat very well, and this week you ate a hell of a lot of fat, and that fat is irritating the heck out of your intestine or even going directly into the bloodstream, what do you think happens that week? It doesn't even matter if let's say you ate a tomato this week. You could even not eat a tomato this week and it could hurt like crazy because this whole thing, all these things that are happening that's causing leaky gut to be worse can fluctuate and they add up. Things can really add up to be a problem. Or let's say last week you didn't have COVID, but this week you got sick with a cold or COVID. Could the reaction to something be more this week because the virus itself is actually making leaky gut worse? How many people notice that? That when you're sick or when you've gotten sick with COVID, or that was actually one of the starts of a lot of nausea, food problems, food reactions, constipation, or diarrhea. How many people notice that a virus infection was one of the things that you're like, I can put a pin in it? And that's what started this whole leaky gut thing for me. Type in chat because I'm here to tell you that you're right. And the reason is we now know that when you look at the COVID virus and the spike protein and how it attacks cells, that spike protein loves to attack what's the outside membrane of cells, and it makes almost little cuts on the outside of cells, damaging them. And one of the favorite cells that the COVID virus loves to infect is your gut cells, gut lining cells. So it literally goes in and makes the spike protein attacking the gut cells, make little millions of little cuts all over each cell, damaging that cell. So it's not in your imagination that you got that, either whether it's through the poke or that's the exposure, or through the infection, that's the exposure. But then all of a sudden you're like, I got all these symptoms of leaky gut. How many people's in that category? Talk about that in chat, right? And Troy mentioned here, I may have one good week, and then the next, I'm not eating the same food, and boom, I still have symptoms because there's multiple factors that can impact leaky gut symptoms. Okay. I mentioned first is people with poor digestion have more and more food, leaky gut symptoms. And more people with poor digestion will also have a lot more food sensitivities and allergies, which is why someone had asked me, how do you solve leaky gut? We're going to be talking about one of the solutions. That's going to be, you got to freaking fix that digestion. Okay. And I'm going to get there, but I still want to talk to people who think answer the question is, how do I know I have leaky gut? Because the next piece is skin. I really want everybody to think about your outside skin here. How many people have skin issues, whether it's eczema, acne, rosacea, random rashes, itching, right? How many people have like lichen for skin, like an autoimmune disease involving the skin, right? How many people have skin issues? And I want you to think about the skin very differently, okay? Your outside skin is a mirror of what's going on the inside skin. All those intestinal cells are the inside skin. And then what you see on the outside is the outside skin. So if you have any of those issues with eczema, psoriasis, acne, or rash, skin type of rash, or infection, like how many people have fungal infection on their skin or recurrent bacterial infection on their skin? Well, that's a mirror of what's going on the inside. So do not miss that as a clue. That is a sign of leaky gut on the inside skin. 100%. Boom, there you go, right? So the concept around there is if you have problems with your outside skin, it's a mirroring what's telling you that there's a problem on the inside skin. Okay. Here's another group. How many people have autoimmune disease? If you have autoimmune disease, any kind of autoimmune disease, and I can sit here and keep listing, but I would love to know who in the audience is an autoimmune disease. That's your immune system attacking your own body like it's a germ. That's a mistake, right? So your immune system is making a mistake. Now, 80% of our immune system is actually in the gut, okay, defending us at every step of digestion. The mucus lining, these gut cells are our immune system. First line of defense, like a huge part of our immune system. And so any sort of, when we have an autoimmune disease, I myself have Hashimoto's, mixed connective tissue disorder, fibromyalgia, neuropathy, right? I have quite a, and it's, you notice, nobody just says, if you know you have an autoimmune condition, I'm just telling you right now, nobody I know with an autoimmune condition just has one area, one target of that immune system. We all have multiple areas, different targets of autoimmune attack. And here's the deal. If you have an immune system that already makes a mistake trying to attack your thyroid, your joints, skin, whatever your autoimmune disease is, then that means that that part of the immune system in your gut isn't working properly to do what? The immune system in your gut is to fight germs. It's to recognize food allergies or not, right? So if any autoimmune disease that you have, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, Crohn's, you name it, celiac disease, diabetes is autoimmune, Sjogren's, lupus, right? Any of these autoimmune conditions and all of them, 100% you have a leaky gut because your immune system in your gut sucks. Okay, those cells are not working properly. So that is, any autoimmune condition is a mirror to what's happened to the cells in your gut. That is primarily a huge part of your immune system. So all of you have autoimmune disease, you have leaky gut. Okay, does that make sense? And Jenny's saying fibro and histamine intolerance. That's a really interesting thing. Every single person with mast cell or histamine intolerance, you have leaky gut. And the reason is, Jenny, I was just mentioning is, the great question, Jenny, is that anytime we have a lot of histamines, which means a lot of allergic branch of our immune system going insane, like this is because we have multiple branches of the immune system. But if the allergy branch of your immune system is going crazy, it means that that the immune system here isn't functioning properly. Your digestion isn't working properly. You break down food from big pieces to little pieces, which means low histamine. If digestion was working properly, you would have low allergens, low histamine. So anybody in a high histamine state or mast cell state, you got a lot of problems with digestion, a lot of problems with food allergies, and you got leaky gut. Okay, there you go. By the way, I have a leaky gut protocol because Latricia, somebody was asking, like, what can be done about it? I'm going to go into some solutions. Who wants the leaky gut protocol? If you are interested in natural solutions for leaky gut and understanding supplements, herbs, different ingredients, I have a leaky gut protocol. If you want the leaky gut protocol, put leaky gut in chat or put the word protocol in chat. We will hook you up and get you a link to go download the whole protocol for you. And it's a beautiful protocol to look at, and it's going to go through some of the solutions. So you don't have to memorize everything that I'm talking about here. So if you want leaky gut protocol, put protocol in chat. That'd be really helpful. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is on that piece, if you have any autoimmune disease, you've got leaky gut. Okay. Now, the other thing is mood and brain. So, leaky gut, leaky brain. How many people have heard that? Leaky gut, leaky brain. Okay. When there is membrane, when the membranes of the cells in the gut are under attack, you bet you the membrane of the cells in your brain are also under attack. I'll give you an example. In Parkinson's now, they've actually connected that there are forms of Parkinson's that are directly linked to an infection in the gut. Okay, certain types of bacteria that are present linked to Parkinson's. So here's something really, really important is that if you have depression, anxiety, bipolar, ADD, brain fog, if you have sensory problems, right? You have leaky gut. And it reminds me, I have worked with a 3-year-old, Bera. Bera's a great story, where, the main symptom presenting was constipation. 3-year-old with constipation. His whole life, he's been constipated. And mom and dad said to me, and I have an interview with mom and dad about Bera's dramatic turnaround, right? If you're interested in learning about, you want to see that video, put Bera, Bera in chat. We could hook you up with that interview with them. So a 3-year-old dealing with chronic constipation, you're thinking, oh, that's not that big of a deal. It was for Bera. But here's the other pieces that were linked is the gut-brain connection. Bera was also dealing with autism spectrum, and he has speech delay. As a 3-year-old, he wasn't speaking more than one word and was very poorly verbal. So vocabulary was small, no more than one word, right? And what we found in working with Bera was that there was a gut brain connection, meaning that it was linked with the autism and the development of his brain was what was going on with his gut. First thing I did when I was working with Bera and his parents was we got to fix what was wrong with his digestion. Okay. And this is why digestive. We're going to talk about digestive. But the second thing that we did with Bear was we identified and eliminated which foods he was actually sensitive or allergic to. It wasn't a big list. Okay. To your surprise and to their surprise, it was not a big list. Okay. And so within about 8 weeks, it might have been even sooner. And on the interview, you'll see he went to sentences. Okay. Like within, like he went back to his speech therapist like 6 months later, and not even 6 months. It was like 6 weeks, 8 weeks later. And there was already 2 words and 3 words into sentences. That's the level of dramatic change. When you have leaky gut, leaky brain, you fix leaky gut, you can fix leaky brain. And would that make a difference in a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old in their speech delay? You bet you. And what difference would it make in an adult with depression, anxiety, or brain fog? Dramatic. I myself, in dealing with my own leaky gut, I didn't know, for example, that I was dealing with poor digestion. I mean, this is school of hard knocks. I know I'm a family medicine doc who became a functional medicine doc, but the school of hard knocks for me in leaky gut was I had chronic constipation as a kid. I had severe heartburn. I didn't know that I was severely intolerant of gluten, right? No idea that those are signs of war gluten, and no idea that I had autoimmune issues and that it was also linked to the gluten for me. And as a result of having the leaky gut, I also had some gut infections. So all of it is almost like things that layer one on top of the other on top of the other. So School of Hard Knocks, this is how I learned it the hard way. And not to mention I had dry skin, I had bumps all over my shoulders, all of that skin issues that you're talking about, mental health symptoms with ADD as well. I don't have ADD, I had leaky gut. So again, I don't take medications for ADD anymore because I don't have ADD. I had leaky gut, right? So there's a gut brain connection, and I wanted to use my example to show that. How many of you know you have a gut brain connection, that you have had symptoms in the gut, or maybe you don't? But now you're starting to think, could my digestion issues, could certain food allergies be part of my brain symptoms, right? Or mental health symptoms? Type it in chat if that rang a bell for you, okay? Because we're going to tell you how you can fix that, okay? And then also finally in this category, two categories is we're going to talk about how general inflammation and joint pain. Okay. How many of you know you're really inflamed, a lot of swelling, right? How many people have joint pain and you know that you're just feeling inflamed? How many people are inflamed throughout their body? Well, that is really chronic fatigue, chronic pain, even neuropathy, nerve pain. A lot of these systemic illnesses come from inflammation from the gut, from a disturbed intestinal barrier. So there's a huge connection. And just so you know, a couple weeks ago, I did a whole training around chronic pain and neuropathy and natural solutions for that. So if you're interested in that, put pain. We talked about pain and inflammation. Go to YouTube and search out Dr. Maggie Yu and pain. It was about 2 weeks ago I did that. Huge, great training. That was a lot of positive feedback around that. And I went over natural solutions around that. But the solutions around that is part of what I'm going to be talking about, because one of the root causes of chronic pain, neuropathy, inflammation in your body, swelling, is, believe it or not, leaky gut. So that's why we're going to be talking about that. And then finally, people with hormonal problems, whether it's your ovarian hormones, you're going through menopause, thyroid, adrenal hormones, people with adrenals with a lot of adrenaline, trouble with brain, racing heart, blood pressure fluctuations, racing brain, monkey brain in the middle of the night. These are all hormone and energy problems, and they're associated with, guess what? Your gut cells actually have a lot to do with making hormones and breaking down hormones. So when you have leaky gut and damage in the area, you actually can't make and break down and process hormones properly. So that's why I work with a lot of people with hormones as well. So these are all the categories that leaky gut will have direct links with. So if you have leaky gut now, type it in chat. Tell me what part of what I said made you realize I got leaky gut, right? And of course, I work with people. If you're one of the people that says, I got digestion issues and I got food sensitivity issues, I know that they are the reason for my leaky gut. Obviously, like Bear, working with me to figure out which part of digestion is broken and identifying through blood work and data exactly what food and allergens is the problem is cutting through the chase. You can cut through the chase. You can save time that way, and your energy and your finances by not going through another 6 months or 6 years of more and more expensive elimination diets that don't work. I work with data. Right. So importantly, if you're looking for a data-driven scientific approach to solving digestion and food sensitivity, there's a link to do our 360 health evaluation with us, so we can learn more about you and we can help see if there's a way with which we can bypass. Don't take 6 months or 6 years to get better. How about 6 weeks in identifying digestion and food sensitivities? Right. That's a process I call food mapping. So just wanted to point that out. Now let's go into some solutions. And Troy, I know we're going to be working together on it. I can't wait. Okay. Really excited. Robin, right? All of it. Cynthia said brain and pain is the reason you know you have leaky gut. You betcha, smarty pants. I love the audience here. You guys are super smart. Now, Patty says, I have low adrenals, chronic fatigue syndrome, and fibromyalgia. So do you guys think after what I said that Patty 100% has leaky gut? You betcha, right? And then S. Ocampo said neuropathy. That is damage to nerve cells and pain from nerve cells. Do you think that can be from leaky gut? 100% yes, yes, and hell yes. I'm going to have you guys start putting in some questions in chat. We are collecting them right now. I'm going to go into solutions. Who's ready for some solutions? Okay. Let's talk solutions. Number one, I already mentioned that if you have bad digestion, you're going to have leaky gut. And if you want the leaky gut protocol, type protocol in chat. We'll get that to you. It's a guide that I have going over leaky gut. first thing that I'm going to mention to solve leaky gut is you better look at digestion, okay? And Digest It is the number one product that I'm going to tell you. It is a must. It is non-negotiable. If someone can pull that up from my team, that'll be really great. Digest It is a supplement that is the most purchased, repurchase solution and first step for leaky gut. And if you look at Digest It, I'm going to tell you why. Because it covers every step in digestion. There's no guesswork here. You don't have to say, is it the acid part? Is it the fat part? Is it the pancreas? Is it the gut bacteria? All that. It is just covering every single step. Here's the cool thing. Simple thing. You don't even have to know how it works. You just need to know it works. Here's how you take it. 1 with small meals, 2 with big meals. That's a really great start. And here's the thing. When you first start a supplement, ease into it, meaning just take 1 with a big meal and see how it goes. And then work up to each meal go into 1 with a small meal, 2 with a big meal. So Digest It alone. I mean, literally, we had Amy sent me an email and said the one thing that she did for her daughter with POTS was to start Digest It. With the one thing she did. And within days, noticed that there was a dramatic difference in the heart racing with the blood pressure and the monkey brain at night. So Digest It, okay, is a product where, here's the thing. You don't have to guess. Every step is covered and minimal number of ingredients. Minimal number of ingredients. One of my biggest gripes with leaky gut products or digestive products out there is, number one, a lot of people say they take digestive enzymes and they call it good. They take one thing with one ingredient and they think that's going to cover their digestion. That doesn't work. That's a fatal flaw. Okay. It's never just one thing. Okay. Then you have the other end of the spectrum where somebody says to me, and we used to do this, where I said, let's go with a product that's going to address every single thing. Sure. And I look out there, look at Amazon, figure out what to get. And the top selling products that says they cover every step have over 50 ingredients. Then I have basically 50% of people telling me, you're giving me a product that covers every step in digestion with 50 ingredients. I can't tolerate that because I got histamine issues. I got mast cell issues. I got tolerability issues. And it seems like it's actually making some of these allergic type reactions worse, because you're right, it is. Anytime you give somebody a product with 50 ingredients, that's a problem. So minimal number of ingredients, clean, delivered exactly the medicinal dose that's needed to work together at every single step is what Digest It is. And it's 1 with small meals, 2 with big meals. So number 1, start with digestion. And that's number 1. Number 2, okay, we need to start thinking about what are some of the things that can be done to coat and soothe the immune system, the immune function of these cells. So gut soothe. Let's talk about gut soothe. Okay. So here's something to think about. A liquid or a powdered product that actually coats and soothes that mucus layer when we're talking about leaky gut. So over here, when we talked about leaky gut, notice on the left side, the top layer is all this healthy mucus layer. So do we want some coaters and some soothers in there? The answer is heck yes. So this is where Gut Soothe is really great. And if somebody could bring that up on the screen. Now, Gut Soothe is the powder, and the powder contains 3 key ingredients that I call the triple threat. Okay. So Gut Soothe contains, number 1, a glutamine. It contains a specific form of glutamine that's really absorbable, easily absorbable, and it's in a powdered mixed into a liquid form. Glutamine, think about it, is what powers the mitochondria in your cells to actually start to heal and repair. So it actually helps ADP turn into ATP. When it turns to ATP, you start making energy. These cells in the gut, they're really dividing super fast. They take damage, and they need a lot of energy to actually heal. You must give a really big doses of L-glutamine in there in a way that's highly absorbable to these cells to power and fuel their repair. So that's 1 scoop twice a day with the L-glutamine in there, right? And just mix in some water, go ahead and drink it. Number 2, here, let's talk about those coaters and soothers to help soothe and help make and repair that mucus layer. And that's going to be DGL. That's a form of licorice that's really good to be what I call the sticky slimies, really great. The other part in there is the aloe in there. So there's aloe in there as well. Also in the sticky slimy, in the cactus family. So the combination of those three in gut soothe, and all you have to do is 1 scoop twice a day. If someone's having any sort of acute, like you're like, I got leaky gut, you got to power the healing and you got to coat and soothe, right? So that's coating and soothing is gut soothe, and that's why it's in the name, 1 scoop twice a day. Now, we're talking about immune function of the cells. Okay. Remember, I said 80% of the immune system is in your gut. So now, so we are at number one, fixing the digestion, which is every line of step of defense. That's helpful to break down these food particles. The second step is to coat and soothe, and that's going to be the gut soothe. The third step is we got to really rebuild and help that immune system in your gut, and that's going to be biocolostrum. And an easy part about biocolostrum is colostrum, think about this, is what is in, let's say, in mom, when we're breastfeeding our babies, cows are breastfeeding the baby cows, those first couple days before our breast milk comes in, we are giving colostrum. And colostrum has tons of what we call antibodies. So they're actually the soldiers that actually will line your gut to fight any sort of infection or toxin. Okay. And I've measured people's antibodies in their stool, in their gut. And I will tell you right now, 80% of people I work with, when you measure some of their antibodies in their guts, nothing, nothing. And it's not like it just happened. It's been like that for decades. So how many people think they don't have an immune system in their gut because they're getting all sorts of infection and illnesses and reactivity? So this is the biohack. It's super fast. Take biocolostrum, 1 capsule in the morning, 1 capsule at night, twice a day. I love this book ending a day kind of thing. And that gives you an instant army. It's the instant army in the gut is morning and night biocolostrum. Okay. People will ask me all sorts of things about, the directions. Do I have to take it with food? Do I not? Doesn't matter. Okay. Just get it in. And same with the gut soothe. You can take it on its own, some water, just drink in the morning and at night. You can do that. You can also do that with a meal. That is okay as well. Same with the biocolostrum. And both of those are going to be twice a day, once in the morning, one at night. Okay. Now, the fourth and final step in dealing with leaky gut, I'm going to tell you is GI biome. Okay. And I really want people to understand just how effective, science-backed driven, probiotic specific strain for specific purpose we are in. And there is freaking science behind this. Okay. So looking at GI biome here, a couple things. It's a single strain. Okay. And it's a single strain. And we're looking at Lactobacillus plantarum. And it is a specific strain of that. This particular strain of bacteria and family of the plantarum has been so well studied that specific strains are for even decreasing histamines. Okay. And 299V is the strain that is in GI biome. This particular strain, which is LP299V, has had over 170 publications involving over 60 human trials, clinical trials, with which there's data to show. I mean, I can tell you all the studies that have shown this is data driven. If someone tells you there's no data around probiotics, they haven't looked at data. Okay. And this particular strain is for leaky gut. And you want to take 1 a day. Because in over 60 clinical trials, there's even one trial that says there's multiple trials that says this particular strain can survive stomach acid, can survive the bile that's from fat digestion, and number one, survivability of the strain. It is made to survive that strain. It loves to go through all of this and survive. You can even measure the other end. Number two, you can actually measure this even after you stop it on the lining of these cells in the mucous membranes. It loves to stick to the mucous membranes. It will go stay. Number three is it actually helps the other good bacteria grow and improve their numbers. So that's one of the biggest problems with probiotics. I mean, I'm not even going to go and name it, but there is actually specific products that are like 5 billion, 10 billion colonies of literal shit. Okay. I don't care if you have 25 billion gazillion of literal shit. I want you to get the specific strain for leaky gut here. And that's what's in GI biome, is specific strain for specifically leaky gut. So it's been shown to, this particular strain is improve IBS symptoms clinically, multiple 61 human trials, number one. Number two, it can improve iron and other nutrient absorption. Number three, it has been shown to actually, for people who have C. diff, life-threatening C. diff infection, taking this one a day actually can be preventative for preventing a C. diff reinfection. How about that? And then there's even in 2024 a study on depression, mental health, gut-brain connection. So this particular strain, taken one a day, can decrease symptoms of major clinical depression, right? And it actually has been shown to decrease intestinal inflammation, decrease any sort of infection in there. And they actually measure something. So your intestinal bacteria does something that's called fermentation. So when you ferment, you create what's called SCFAs, short chain fatty acids. When people take GI Biome one a day every day, it increases the SCFAs, the beneficial stuff that that good bacteria is supposed to be making. So we actually can clinically show that it increases the work and the result of your good bacteria of all the different strains in your back gut when you take this one particular strain at this dose. That's GI Biome, one capsule a day. That's all it takes. Okay. So I went over quite a bit. That's like 4 or 5 of the things that you can do right now for leaky gut. And there are additional things that I discuss in the leaky gut protocol. If you want the protocol, put protocol in chat. We'll link you to go and you can download my whole leaky gut protocol. The products I also discussed are also at MYMD shop. If you want to go check it out, it's part of our GI collection. But those are the things that everyone with leaky gut should be on right now. And they're easy, instant, fast, and they bring results. Okay. Now let's go over questions. I would love to see what are some of the questions that people have submitted already. I'm going through questions right now, and I left time for a Q&A, everybody. Jenny says, Jenny had asked, can leaky gut be reversed? And if so, how? I just went over the first steps. Start with digested, start with gut soothe, biocolostrum, and GI Biome one a day. Okay, those would be immediately. You do that right now. They are clinically shown to improve leaky gut, period. Number one. And then Maria 28 asks, what if you either have constipation or loose stool is never regular? That's a form of IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, we call alternating. So whether you have IBS, and by the way, IBS is BS. It's a trash term that doctors came up with when they don't know what the causes are. IBS is just people with a lot of digestion problems and food sensitivities. And then they develop leaky gut. That's what IBS is. And that's why I work with people. We work with people to fix digestion, food sensitivities. We work with people to fix what the underlying causes of leaky gut are. But at the same time, are there currently supplements and a protocol you can follow to get the results right away? Hell yes. And by the way, if you already know you're allergic or sensitive to something, you know what those are, don't eat those things, right? But if you accidentally got exposed to them, there's a product called Allergest in the store and at MYMD's shop. It's great as a rescue. So when you go to Allergest, we'll show the product on the screen. It's part of the GI collection. If you already know, like you can't do gluten, let's say, or dairy or egg or something, but you got accidentally exposed, taking the Allergest, and it's the 4x4 rule, okay? 4 a day for 4 days will help decrease the amount of time you'll break down that allergen faster, okay? And there's a whole bunch of even fish protein, pea protein, some of the nut proteins Allergest works on. So to me, it is my go bag when I travel, in my purse, in my glove compartment. I have Allergest because you never know. If you already know what food you have an allergy to or sensitive to, and you get exposed, it's not like you're just a sitting duck. You have a go bag and you have an immediate go-to for that, and that's Allergest. So that's just something for you guys to think about. What's in your go bag, right? I would have digested. I would always have some Allergest there, just FYI. Okay. So when someone has, when you have IBS, whether it's constipation predominant, diarrhea predominant, or alternating, that means constipation or diarrhea, that is a sign of leaky gut. So absolutely, you need the leaky gut protocol, and I would absolutely start with digestion, and some of the things in there. Digestion is first, and then gut soothe and biocolostrum, right? Really, really big things, right? And Rick, you mentioned chronic PTSD. Can chronic PTSD, mental health, right? And I'm going to put this in the category of what I call nervous system disorders, okay? Chronic PTSD is a chronic reaction of the nervous system to trauma, okay? And It is in a group of nervous system disorders. Can people with nervous system disorder, whether it's chronic PTSD, TBI, traumatic brain injury, right? Or people with POTS or dysautonomia. I know. Tinnitus, ringing in the ears, Meniere's, hearing loss. These are nervous system disorders with which they have poor tools to diagnose and no tools to treat. Okay, all of you have leaky gut because your gut is the longest running system with which your autonomic nervous system is all a big part of. So, a huge part of your nervous system isn't even in your brain, it's in your gut, and it's part of the nerve. Your gut has the most number and the longest nerves. The vagus nerve is part of the nervous system. So, if you have leaky gut, you are actually sending tons of signals through the autonomic nervous system to cause an imbalance in the nervous system, causing chronic PTSD, chronic stress reactions, chronic blood pressure, heart rate changes, anxiety, depression, right? So I just want you to know, all of you that have these nervous system disorders like CPTSD, chronic PTSD, TBI, traumatic brain injury, POTS, and dysautonomia, I got you. You do have leaky gut. And the best place to start is with your gut. So whether that's with supplementation, right? Or working with me on that, right? I solve these problems for breakfast. Give me some lunch, give me some dinner, because it's really critical to identify what's wrong with that digestion and what is wrong with the food sensitivities that are very real that you have that are hard to decipher. So the person earlier who had that alternating constipation diarrhea, or I think it was Rick who even said, or it was Troy who said, last week I ate broccoli, I don't have a problem. This week I eat broccoli, I have diarrhea. Next week I eat diarrhea and I eat diarrhea. I eat broccoli and I have constipation. This is what leaky gut can look like, is tons of confusing alternating symptoms. It seems like there's no rhythm or pattern to you. And to me, I already see a pattern right there. And then there's data to back that up. So that's why people work with me on food mapping. And within a matter of 6 weeks, we solve these problems that have been plaguing people for lifelong or decades, right? These are solvable. Digestion, food sensitivity, food mapping, this whole thing, solvable problems. And if you want to work with me on that, there's a link to do a 360 health evaluation where we ask you a ton of questions you've never been asked before. And we go over that, your report and your results with you to really identify where's the problem. Is it the nervous system? Is it the gut? Is it your hormones? Is it autoimmunity and your immune function? Yeah, that's our 360 health evaluation. If you want more details around that, put 360 in chat, okay? Robin says, constipation. So here's this is a common pattern here that is missed. Robin's scenario here, 59-year-old, every single piece in her history is jumping out at me as data point, data point, data point, data point. Okay. Constipation, meaning like lifelong, right? And for me, my constipation was because of gluten intolerance and autoimmune thyroid, low thyroid, right? For me, hormonal component to it as well. I don't just look at constipation to say, oh, it's constipation. No, this is like a sign. And notice she also said the very end of that, no gallbladder for 31 years. I have said so much around people with digestion problems. It is really irksome to me that we look at somebody who no gallbladder for 31 years. And how many years before does she have fat digestion problems that nobody even addressed? We take someone with 10, 20 years of a fat digestion problem that they can't diagnose or treat. We wait till they get all this infected, inflamed scarring on their poor fat digesting organs. And then we say, now you have a problem and we're going to surgically just remove that. And then the organ that's responsible for fat digestion. And then we're not going to tell you how to even support fat digestion for the rest of your life. So you develop all these chronic health problems from poor or no fat digestion for the rest of your life. So when you can't absorb, digest, break down, or absorb your fat, you can't make hormones. Okay. And your gut is so irritated, you can't break down hormones either. So she becomes a hormonal mess from 31 years ago on to now 59 with lots of hormonal things going on. So I'm linking pieces to her case she didn't even mention, and I don't even know. And she may even add it in chat. Oh, yeah, I had all these problems. I had a hysterectomy, or, I went through early menopause, or I'm still going through menopausal hell at 59. And it's linked to this whole leaky gut problem that has been happening this whole time, right? I know her question was much more simple. Do I need digestive enzymes? Yes. I know you didn't want maybe you did want all those answers or the patterns that I saw. The answer is yes. Robin, the best place to start is to start with digested, one with small meals, two with big meals, because that was one of your root cause problems that was never addressed even before you had your gallbladder removed. They removed the gallbladder. Now it's become even a bigger problem. Start with digested. Number one, boom, right there. First step. But do look at gut soothe, biocolostrum. Get the protocol, by the way, Robin. But yes, you need a digestive enzyme. There's nobody with leaky gut that doesn't need to start with digested right away. And don't just go get a digestive enzyme over the counter. And I just went over what all the problems are with it. There's a reason that digested is the number one selling supplement and the most repurchased supplement for digestion. Okay, so digested. Next question. I like this. Latresa, great question. Does being anemic or having an iron C deficiency affect the gut? It's the other way around. Leaky gut causes low iron, causes anemia. Okay? So it's the other way around. Anybody that's anemic, anybody that has low iron, anybody that has all these B12 problems, gut absorbability, low vitamin problem, that's not what's causing leaky gut. Leaky gut causes you not to absorb those things. So the problem is actually a gut problem. And meanwhile, we're sitting here chasing all these supplements, right? With, oh, this vitamin is low, that vitamin is low, that vitamin is low. Well, it's because you have damage in that area. The gap junctions are damaged, inflamed. You're not digesting or absorbing these nutrients from food or even from the expensive supplements. So, yeah, there's a total connection. And really interestingly, Latresa, when I was talking about the LP299V strain that's in GI Biome, that particular strain of gut bacteria is known to heal leaky gut and improve iron absorption. Take that to the bank. So, yeah, you can actually pick a specific strain of bacteria, probiotic, that can actually address low iron. All right, there you go. So that's the connection right there. And that's how knowing the science behind specific strain can actually be really helpful. And I also like GI Biome for this purpose because it's one strain. Some people have poor tolerability to a lot of ingredients in their supplements, but also to a lot of strains in their probiotic. So if someone were to tell me, I have had trouble or I'm worried about tolerating a probiotic, I'm going to tell them start with the one strain, and the first strain is going to be the strain in GI Biome. So it's a great starter probiotic, but it's also one of the most well-studied with over 180, I believe, publications of studies around this particular strain that's in GI Biome. Okay, there you go. Next, okay. PN Nance. Frequent bowel, loose bowels, and small amount of blood. Now we're seeing blood in there, leaky gut symptoms and treatment. Correct. If you see blood in your bowels, those of you who have seen blood on the other end, that is not normal. And when we actually go over right here, looking at this, the blood is behind this whole line of sealed cells on the left on the gut, right? So there should be no blood from your bloodstream going out into the gut. So remember, the top of this mucus layer is your actual inside of your intestines. So only on the right side, if there is blood passing through the cell barrier into the intestines, out through your poop, you see blood. That is the definition of leaky gut because it's actually leaking blood into your intestines. That is not normal. Okay. So anybody that has blood in their stool, it has some or large degree of leaky gut because it's not just stuff leaking from the inside into the bloodstream. It's going from the bloodstream straight into the bowels. That's just reversal. Okay. But it is leaky gut. So the question around that was small amount of blood. This is not good, meaning that it is leaky gut. You got to know why. And really importantly, anytime we see blood in the stool, we got to make sure we go into the doctor to evaluate it because there can be some serious things that could cause blood in the stool. So 100% a medical evaluation as to whether they can discover what's the cause of that blood in there, really importantly. And really importantly, yes, it could be a sign of leaky gut. And absolutely, the leaky gut protocol will be really great, starting with digestion, right? Probiotics like the GI Biome is really good. But something to coat and soothe the gut like gut soothe, right? Really importantly. That's why I thought through the 4 quadruple punch in leaky gut. Digest it, right? Then digestion, coat it with gut soothe, right? And then biocolostrum to help rebuild that immune system right away. Give some armies and some soldiers right there. And then number 5, GI biome 1 a day. Repopulate with good bacteria. It's like the quadruple threat right there. Okay. There you go. And then next, okay. This is an interesting question. Ginny, can you go into complete remission from Hashimoto thyroiditis? The answer to every autoimmune question that you ask me is, can any autoimmune condition be put into full remission? The answer is yes. Okay. But at the same time, the damage, if there's any sort of permanent damage, let's say your Hashimoto's or your rheumatoid arthritis, it's gotten to the point where it's so bad where there's permanent damage, like cell death in the thyroid, cell death in the joint. Those cells that are dead can't come back, right? So the key in dealing with any autoimmune condition is you want to get it as early as possible to prevent any sort of permanent damage that you can't return. Does that make sense? Which is why for me, when I specialize in autoimmunity, right? And any autoimmune condition I have is come to me. And the sooner, the better. Don't come to me too late where it's like, oh, I'm at the point of a kidney transplant. And guess what? I've worked with people with kidney transplant because the autoimmune condition was so bad it has damaged their kidney to that point. But I can't make someone whose kidney is dead come back alive, right? But at the same time, if you are an early kidney damage or no kidney damage, that's the time. So really, I want you to think about remission in a very important way, which is timing matters. The sooner and earlier that you approach autoimmune disease of any kind, sooner and earlier you approach leaky gut and you work with a professional on this to identify what the causes are that are reversible, the earlier, the easier it will be to intervene, the bigger the results are going to be, and the more reversibility and remission that you can get because you don't have permanent damage. So we really want to minimize the amount of permanent damage there is. So this is why I love, one takeaway from it right now, this whole thing, if you're going to do something, do it now. If you're going to do something, do it now. Don't say I'm going to do it tomorrow. If you're going to say, I want the leaky gut protocol, download that protocol right now. Click the link, download it right now. If you say, I'm going to start a probiotic right now, order GI biome right now. Do it right now. Don't tell me you're going to do it tomorrow, a week from now, or never. Because if you don't do something now, you're not going to do it. And that's knowing human nature and knowing myself as well. So what are you giving yourself permission to do right now? What are you committing yourself to do right now? One thing, type it in chat. Type it in chat right now, right? That's the key to watching something like this. I can't help you by you watching this. I can help you if you commit to doing something, one thing right now. I can help you if you reach out and do a 360 evaluation so I know 1,000 things about you, right? So I just want to give that as a point of reference, right? Is histamines an issue with leaky gut? Oh my gosh, yes, it is. And this is why I love working with histamines and mast cell issues. Just to kind of show you guys really briefly right here, in your blood are floating mast cells, okay? So when you look at the left situation where someone doesn't have leaky gut, you notice the food particles, which is on the top with the green dots, are on the outside, right? On the outside, okay? And so these food particles are, digested with a proper digestion, right? But if they're not digested well, these food particles are going to be very big. Okay. And so what I see with people with histamine and mast cell is that they're on that right side right here. So every person with mast cell and histamine problems have leaky gut because their digestion and genetically, I've worked with so many people with histamine issues. I know genetically their digestion sucks. So if the digestion sucks on the right here, you notice the gluten, bad bacteria, toxins go straight through into the bloodstream where, your gut cells is the immune, is the immediate allergic reaction. But then the blood carries those food allergens, toxins all over the body, and you develop hyperhistamine reaction all over the body. So high histamines will cause things like rashes, will cause problems with even hormone production, anxiety, heart rate changes, blood pressure changes. So I just kind of want to show you guys something because I work so much with histamine issues is anytime you have elevated histamine issues, It affects all of these systems over here on the right. It causes skin issues, inflammation throughout your body, cardiovascular with blood pressure issues and symptoms, right? Central nervous symptoms like anxiety, brain fog symptoms, allergy symptoms, right? So there is a total connection is that anytime someone has leaky gut, meaning holes in that filter, which is the lining of your gut cells, all of these irritants that actually allergens go straight into the bloodstream. And then the histamine reactions, the mast cells floating around your body is all over your body reacting everywhere. So, which is why when you actually download the histamine, so we have an allergy and a histamine protocol. So for those of you with mast cell and histamine issues, I have an allergy histamine protocol. Put that in chat. We can set you up and link you to that. That being said, one of the products that I'm going to talk about that I talked about when I talked about mast cell and histamine last week was histamine. Okay, histamine. It is part of the leaky gut protocol for people who have a lot of histamine related reactions. So I love that, Rihanna. You know that you have histamine issues, and there's a total connection with the gut. And part of it is you got to fix that digestion with Digestant, number one. Number two is, the probiotic GI biome, it's made for people with histamine issues because it's a single strain and it is once a day and it's also low ingredient, right? But that being said, histamine, if someone could pull that up on the screen, histamine is for people with known histamine issues. And with a histamine, what I would recommend for that is once your body's already making all those histamines and you know you have an histamine issue, the very best way to start histamine is to take, I would just say, take 3 with each meal right away. Just start it right away. You already know you got tons of histamine issues. Well, a lot of that is reaction to food and having leaky gut. So if you take histamine, which is the enzyme that breaks down histamine, 3 with each meal, just as a starting point, you may need more. That already reduces the amount of histamine in the gut right away in that immediate food ingestion and post-food ingestion histamine release. So that's just a good remedy to have. Anybody with histamine issues, this is in your go bag. But a great way to start that is just take 3 with each meal for someone who has a known histamine problem. So I want to make sure I address that. But that's why a lot of people who are in our food mapping program working with us are dealing with histamine issues. And because digestion and food allergies are a big part of it, but also learning how to use a product like histamine is a great way to deal with acute histamine reactions. There you go. I know we're heading towards an hour, and I just want to make sure that we go through these questions. And then PN Nance, thyroid nodules, any relation to the gut, autoimmune disease and the gut. I just mentioned that. By the way, I have Hashimoto's myself, and I have tons of video trainings around thyroid and also how to decrease the autoimmune attack against the thyroid. There's also 3 products I talked about that's like a triple threat when it comes to protecting the thyroid from autoimmune damage. There's a thyroid collection that's on our website. If you want to go check that out, there are 3 products there, and I have a lot of videos. If you want, look up Dr. Maggie Yu, MD, on YouTube and put in thyroid supplementation or put in thyroid goiters, nodules, and cysts. My video is one of the first that comes up, and I mentioned 3 products that are literally life changers in there. And it absolutely is linked with the gut and autoimmunity as well. Nance, thanks for asking that. And then Wendy was like, so just chop smaller bites, meaning like chew your food, chop your food smaller. Hell yeah. So that's one of the things when I work with anybody on their digestion is I'm going to say is chew your food at least 10 times. And then also add water, like drink water between bites, because water also breaks down food into smaller particles. That would be a huge part of helping with digestion. Dilution is digestion. So chop your food, but also chew your food and also drink water with every bite is super helpful with leaky gut and helping with digestion. I love that. Great comment, right? This is a good question. Maria says, how long does it take to heal leaky gut? The sooner you start, the sooner it heals. And so that's the thing. It will never heal if you don't take a first step or do something first. So how long it takes really determines on your ability to implement. But also, if you work with somebody like me to identify which step of digestion is broken, and you do testing specifically, identify which food you're allergic to that's really triggering this, quickly as 6 weeks. Right? So that's why like there's data around it, and there's science behind it, and there's also medical expertise around that, right? So I love being able quickly as 6 weeks for individuals working with us in the food mapping program, where there's data to support exactly knowing which foods is causing it, right? So that's a time frame for you, Maria. For those of us, Troy, I think you're starting in the food mapping program. Yeah, as quickly as 6 weeks. How about that for an answer? And then Wendy, final question. Should you cut out alcohol and wine if you have leaky gut? Well, alcohol is a known irritant on gut cell lining. So we already know that chronic people use alcohol chronically actually destroy the mucus lining, the villi in the top of the cells. Alcohol actually is an irritant. So the reason that we use alcohol to actually clean surfaces is alcohol actually goes in there and breaks up the cell membrane. Alcohol breaks up cell membranes of bacteria, viruses. That's how it works as a disinfectant. So alcohol going straight into the gut actually will destroy the cells that line the esophagus and the gut. So number one cause of esophageal cancer, mouth cancer, is chronic alcohol consumption. So alcohol actually is a known toxin to create leaky gut. So absolutely, if you have leaky gut, wine and alcohol, it's out. But, at the same time, it's one of those, it's like moderation. Can you have one glass of wine here and there? Kind of depends, right? It depends on the severity with which your leaky gut is, and also what are all the other good things that you're doing, right? But yeah, if you know you have leaky gut, alcohol is a known cause of leaky gut. There you go. All right, everybody. I hope that was super helpful. Did I answer the question of how do you know you have leaky gut? If you have, whether it's yes or no, I want every person watching to answer right now. Do you know if you have leaky gut right now? Answer that, because that was number one, the question I came to answer. Number two, the question I came to answer was, what do you do about it? And so I answered, what can you do medically about it as far as digestion, food sensitivity, and working with an expert? I answered that. That would be doing a 360 evaluation with me and my team. And the link is in the chat. And I also answered, what are some natural remedies that you do now that can fix leaky gut right away? And that's covered in the leaky gut protocol that you can download. And so you can go, and there's a link in chat for you to download that. Okay, everybody, that is a wrap, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. And and I have one ask, if you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up under this video right now. Share it with one person that you know could benefit from this information. And number three, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell over there. That is a wrap, everyone, and have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys next week.